Good day, dear learners. I'm a senior teacher of the Department Modern Languages and the Translation Studies, Kaldybekkyzy, and the theme of our lecture is the periodization of the literary process in England. The name of our discipline is British literature and the problems of translation. First of all, let's get acquainted with the plan of our lecture. We will talk about the English literature, the body of written works produced in the English language. The second part will be about the periodization of the literary process in England. The third part will be about the notion of culture, notion of literature, and the notion of history, the literary processes as a reflection of the historic process. And the last part of our lecture will be about the English literature as a gateway to understanding Western thoughts, ideologies, and cultural nuances. English literature, the body of written works produced in the English language by the inhabitants of the British Isles, including the islands, from the late 7th century to the present day. The major literature written in English outside the British Isles are treated separately under the American literature, Australian literature, Canadian literature, and of course the New Zealand literature. Also, historians have delineated the history of English literature in different ways over the time. Common divisions are outlined below. From Old English period, which laid the foundation of English literature with the oral traditions and early written works like epic poem Beowulf, to the dynamic and fragmented landscape of the postmodern period. English literature has traversed centuries, with each period reflecting distinct literary styles and the social change of that time. This overview is also marked by iconic pieces of literature. The Renaissance period, in other words, rebirth, renewing the ideas period, for the example, witnessed the golden age of English drama, with the works of such as the worldwide popular William Shakespeare's Hamlet, Othello, and Macbeth. Meanwhile, the Victorian era saw the emergence of Charles Dickens' novels like Oliver Twist, Great Expectations, which highlighted the injustice of industrial society they lived in. The periodization of the literary process in England refers to the division of English literature into distinct historical periods, each of which reflects the social, political, cultural, and the literary change of the time. These periods are often used by scholars to understand the development of English literature as a reflection of broader historical shifts. While the exact dates of each period can vary slightly, depending on the source, the following is the generally accepted framework for the periodization of English literature. The first period is the Old English period. In other words, we call this period Anglo-Saxon period. It has its starting from the 450 till 1066. This period is marked by the influence of Germanic tribes, what came from the northern and the middle part of Europe, with the Norse and the Christian traditions. Literature was often oral in that time, including the epic poems, poetry, and of course religious texts and riddles. If we talk about notable works of this period, we can highlight the worldwide popular epic poem Beowulf. This poem is about a hero who battles a monster, and the Anglo-Saxon chronicle Anglo-Saxon Chronicle includes the historical records of the events in Anglo-Saxon England. The next period is the Middle English period. It started in 1066 till the 1500s. After the Norman conquest, Old English evolved into Middle English, incorporating Norman, French, and the Latin vocabulary. Literature began to be written in the vernacular. Vernacular, it means in the local language, the language the inhabitant spoke, yeah? With a focus on the chivalric romance, religious text, and the allegorical works, of course. And notable works of this period, of the period of Middle English, include Geoffrey Chaucer's The Canterbury Tales, a collection of stories told by the pilgrims on a journey to the Canterbury. And another work is Sir Gawain and the Green Knight. It's a chivalric romance which was very popular in the period, the Middle English period. The next period is the Renaissance. Renaissance started in 1500 and continued till the 1660. The Renaissance, the term Renaissance came from the French word rebirth, Renaissance. The Renaissance was a period of the intellectual and artistic revival, influenced by humanism and the classical antiquity. Literature became more secular in this period, with a focus on individualism, human experience, and the exploration of new ideas. Yes, and the humanism and the humanistic ideas were very popular in this period. And notable works include William Shakespeare's plays and his sonnets, Christopher Marlowe's Dr. Faust, and Edmund Spenser, The Fairy Queen. The next period, the Restoration and the 18th century. It has its starting in 1660 till the 1798. The Restoration marked the return of the monarchy under Charles II after the English Civil War and the Commonwealth period. The literature of this time was characterized by wit, satire, and a focus on the social manners. And the 18th century saw the rise of the novel as a literary form. The next period, the Romantic period. Yeah, it started in 1798 and continued till the 1837. Romantic literature was characterized by a focus on the nature, focus on the beauty, emotion, the individual, and the human being's imagination. The rejection, the rationalism of the Enlightenment, and emphasized the sublime and the supernatural. The notable works of these Romantic periods include the William Wordsworth's the Samuel Taylor's Coleridge lyrical ballads, which were very popular in that time, and the Percy Bysshe Shelley and the John Keats were the active writers of this period also. The next period, the Victorian era. As we know, the Victorian era, this period is highlighted in the history, not only in the literature, but in the history of England. This period was a flourishing of England, and it has its starting from the 1837 till and continued till the 1901. And the Victorian literature was concerned with the social issues, moral responsibility, and the effects of industrialization and urbanization. It often explored themes of class, gender, and the conflict between traditions and the modernity. And talking about the notable works of that time, we can highlight of course, the Charles Dickens' novel, A Tale of Two Cities, Oliver Twist, George Eliot's Middlemarch, and the poetry of Alfred Lord Tennyson and Robert Browning. And the next period is the modernist period. Yeah, in the modernist period, in other words, modernism rejected the traditional forms and the conventions, embracing experimental techniques, fragmentation, and the focus on individual consciousness. The period, the modernist period, was marked by a sense of disillusionment, often due to the aftermath of World War I. The notable works include James Joyce Ulysses, Virginia Woolf's Mr. Dalloway, and Eliot's The Waste Land. The relationship between the culture, literature, and the history is complex and deeply intertwined and connected. Literature is often seen as the product of culture and the history, reflecting the values, struggles, and the experiences of a particular time and the place. At the same time, literature can shape cultural and historical narratives by influencing social thought and the action. Understanding the literary process as a reflection of the historical process involves recognizing how literature both mirrors and critiques the world in which it was created. English literature is one of the most widely read literature in the world, and the English language is one of the most widely spoken and taught languages in the world. And as a result, the literature had a profound impact on a global and cultural exchange. Writers from diverse regions, such as Africa, even Caribbean islands, South Asia, they have used the English language to tell their stories, and they are blending local traditions with the global literary styles. English literature has inspired and interacted with other national literatures. Many non-English writers have been influenced by the English literary canon. Its themes, its methods, its storytelling, essay writing types, and so on. For example, the novel as a form was heavily shaped by the English authors like Jane Austen, Charles Dickens, George Eliot, whose works still resonate with the writers today. English literature has often been a conduit for the cultural exchange and understanding for many non-native English speakers. Renowned works of the English literature serve as a gateway to understanding Western thoughts, ideologies, and the cultural nuances even. And we have come to the end of our lecture. Thank you for your attention.